Welcome to Digital Works. In today's session, we are going to learn about Codeigniter Architecture. So before going to the Codeigniter Architecture, let us understand what is the necessity of using this architecture. Suppose if we are building any application which contains HTML, PHP codes, and we are developing some thousands of pages. So definitely it will contain a bulk of code is there, bulk of lines of code. So if we want to change any few lines of code, and that particular few lines of code need to impact in all the 1000 pages, then it is a hectic task, because changing single page is very easy, but the change need to affect in all the pages. That means we need to change all the 1000 pages. That is, we are handling the large programming complexity. So to overcome this complexity, many programming languages follows some structure. So here our Codeigniter simply explains the structure through this architecture, how it is going to handle the complexity. So let's start. So we understand the necessity of using the architecture, and let's start how this Codeigniter architecture is built. So if you observe carefully in the diagram, below diagram, some numberings are there. So 1 for index.php, and 2 for routing, and 3 or 7 for caching, and 4 for security, and 6 for view, and 5 for application control. All those things are there. Let us see the number wise. So what happened? So as shown in the figure, so whenever any request comes to the Codeigniter, it will first go to the index.php page. So that is, index.php is the first controller of our application. So whenever the request hit the server, this index.php will act like a preliminary controller to send the page for what purpose, and to search for which things it need to display the user. So after hitting the index.php page, the second step, it will send to the routing. This routing will decide whether to pass this request to step 3 for caching, or to pass the request to step 4 for security check. So this routing is simply acts as one kind of a section which will decide so whether to go for caching or whether to go for security. So if the requested page is already in caching, then the routing will pass the request to step 3. That means caching page. So if already the page is there, the client asking page is already there, then simply in caching, that particular page will give the response to the user. So then automatically the complete flow will terminated. If the page is at caching, then it will go back to the user. Suppose if the requested page does not exist in caching, then the routing will pass the requested page to step 4 for security checks. In the security checks, it also decide so what the thing the user is asking, and next what I need to do. All those things, measurements are all happening in this security checks. And after security of the submitted data is checked, then the application controller will take the responsibility. This application controller will have a lot of things like models and libraries, helpers, plugins and scripts. All those things, whichever things it needed, it will take the information from all those things. This application controller give the responsibility to those models, libraries, helpers, plugin, scripts, and after retrieving the information, it will send to the view. The view will render the page with available data, and again this view will pass to the caching section, because in the caching section, if the page is not there, then it will store in the caching section, because the reason is, next time in future, anytime the user requests the same page, then this all process will never again repeat. It simply terminated the caching part, and it will give the information to the user. So if you observe carefully, these are the important steps. The first step